Hello and welcome to our daily culture magazine here on I-24 News, where we bring you the latest and greatest entertainment and cultural stories. Today on our show, we'll talk about an alternative ceremony commemorating today's Holocaust Remembrance Day. Yizhak Perlman's workshop for young musicians. And we'll check up on Marvel's Muslim superhero. Let's begin with some cultural headlines, though. Comic book fans rejoice. The Justice League is headed to the big screen. Warner Brothers president of worldwide production, Greg Silverman, told the Wall Street Journal that a film about the supergroup headed by Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman will arrive at cinemas following 2016's Batman vs. Superman. Director Zack Snyder will helm the film. Henry Cavill's Man of Steel will be joined, of course, by Ben Affleck's Batman and Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. Warner Brothers studios are trying to emulate the success of Marvel's format, whose superhero franchise has grossed almost $6 billion. Andy Warhol is considered the pioneer of popular art, and recently another Warhol first was rediscovered. In 1985, Warhol used the then state-of-the-art personal computer Commodore Amiga to create 3 images commissioned for an ad for the device. After a 3-year effort, the artworks were recovered from 30-year-old floppy disks and includes an image of Warhol's famous Campbell's soup can. For all you kids out there, floppy disks are what we used to move information around before the internet. You can just Google it. And a surprising win for Israeli director Talia Lavi with her first feature film, Zero Motivation, at the Tribeca Film Festival last week. The dark comedy about the everyday life of female soldiers in the Israeli army won the Founders Award for Best Narrative Feature, and 35-year-old Lavi also took home the Nora Ephron Prize. The Tribeca jury said in a statement that the film uses humor, strength, and intellect to tell the story of young women finding their place in a macho world, and added, "We believe a new powerful voice has emerged." We're certainly looking forward to see what she'll do next. Today, Israel marks the annual Holocaust Remembrance Day. Every year, an official state ceremony is held at Yad Vashem, but for the past 15 years, another ceremony takes place, the alternative Holocaust ceremony. One of its organizers, Sarit Sabo, is here in the studio to tell us a little more about it. Thank you for coming in, Sarit.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure.
So tell me a little bit about this alternative ceremony. Why is there an alternative ceremony? What takes place in it?
I think the answer for why is actually listening here to your report, because the world today, things are moving faster, and it's very hard for people, I think in Israel and all over the world, to stop everything for one day. And what the alternative, I think, ceremony is trying to do is to put new language into remembering and talking about the Holocaust. Now, it's not an alternative to the Holocaust, heaven forbid, and it's not an alternative to. It's just another way. I think a younger, more fringe way. It's held in a theater which is in the south part of Tel Aviv, which is not
not where you'd expect to see this sort of ceremony.
Exactly, and it's the people that are coming to speak are talking about their experience of being an Israeli now, not talking about the past. Some of them, everybody, I think, in Israel, you grow into being a Holocaust, in a way, survivor, even if your family was in the Holocaust, or even if you were just in school when you were, you have to stand.
So in a way, this is because of that? Because this country sort of pounds into you the memory of the Holocaust, this gives you another point of view?
I think it's because some things need to be changing. Things should be, evolving, and that's what we're trying to do every time, every year. We're trying to think about a new way, a new language for young people. And you know what? I think it's a big, it's, if you can call it a success, because again, you know, it's strange to talk about a Holocaust ceremony in terms of success or not success. But the fact is that every year, hundreds of people are lining outside this theater and sitting inside quietly for more than an hour and listening to ideas. Some of them are not a regular mainstream ideas. We've got journalists talking. We've got.
Are there also negative responses? Are there people that aren't so happy about this new approach?
I think at the beginning of the ceremony, I don't know if I was lucky enough to be participating in the first ceremony, and it was almost 16 years ago. At the first, we had a police knocking at the door because you're not allowed to do, you're not allowed to be gatherings
be having parties.
Like a party. So the police was knocking on the door, and we had a restraining order for one time. So and during the time, and it's been years passing by, and people got used to it. And also I think that the people that are coming to hear the ceremony and the people that are coming to participate, they know what they're going to. And I keep telling those people that are coming for the first time to participate, I always say, this is a safe place to say things that maybe if you were in Yad Vashem, you shouldn't talk about, because Yad Vashem has its place, a very honorable place, but you need an alternative always. Right. And I think that's what we're trying to do. And I'll give you an example. For the last few years that I've been participating, I've been doing small researches of my own about what do I feel now. I'm a third generation. My grandma passed away 12 years ago. And every time I find it, it's just unbelievable. How can I find new ways of thinking and for example, this year I was very I was crying the whole time that I was talking, because for the first time I've got a daughter, and it was her first grade. She's first grader, and it was her first ceremony. Right, first school ceremony. Right. And a few days before, we were driving the car, and she said, "Mommy, what is the Holocaust?" And suddenly I realized the responsibility that I have now. It's not only to remember my grandma, which was one of my biggest love. It's also how do you keep on exactly? Yeah. How do you keep it without? What sort of memory do you pass on? I'm not sure about the memories, because she will not have the memories that I have from the stories. But I want her to understand it in a different way, not in a way of, being victimizing yourselves or you don't want it necessarily to encourage fear in her, but fear or to hate other people just because their grandparents did something horrible a long time ago. So it was very interesting for me. So I was talking about being a granddaughter and being a mom for the first time. And it's interesting, and I hope I hope the young people, and I hope her generation, which I think talking to you was very nice, because you were talking about Andy Warhol at the beginning, and then you were talking about the Holocaust. It fits in the bigger picture. I think that's going to be her life as well. The Holocaust should be something to remember, but something to use as a warning sign, perhaps. Maybe warning, maybe teaching you, maybe making you a better person instead of making you. Sarit Sabo, thank you so much for your part in this. Thank you. Thank you. Soon we'll hear about a special workshop by world-famous musician Yizhak Perlman. But first, here are some events held around the world in honor of today's Holocaust Remembrance Day.
A musical tribute to Holocaust Remembrance Day in Jerusalem. On the program are songs by composer Victor Ullmann, who died in Theresienstadt. There will also be a screening of the film From Hell to Paradise about pianist Alice Herz-Zommel, who survived Theresienstadt and died in February at the age of 101. The concert will be held on Wednesday, April the 30th at 6 p.m. at the Jerusalem Music Center. In Dallas, an exhibition about the heroic role played by Albanian Muslims who saved Jews and their heritage during the Second World War. The exhibition is based on the works of photographer Norman Gershman, who for 4 years has taken the portrait of Muslim families who saved Jews. On view at Dallas Holocaust Museum until June 18th. For the first time in Paris, more than 500 photographs from the ghettos will be exposed at the Holocaust Memorial. The exhibition presents an historical analysis of photos taken by Jews and Nazis alike. the touching pictures capture the life and death of thousands of Jews in the ghettos during the Second World War. On view at the Shoah Memorial in Paris until September 28th.
Moving on to other matters now, the new generation of musical prodigies from around the world met in Tel Aviv at a very unique workshop. Students were selected for their exceptional talent and had the privilege of following the good advice of Yizhak Perlman, one of the greatest contemporary violinists. Here's the story by David Gombi.
This month, 37 teenage musicians from around the world, among them violinists, cellists, and bassists, had the unique privilege of being instructed by a true legend of the violin, Yizhak Perlman, an unforgettable 2 weeks for this group of students.
Coming to Israel and working with the Israeli students here is a really great reminder that music is truly universal, and even just rehearsing with my chamber music quartet, I'm actually with 3 Israeli students. So even if they're all speaking Hebrew, we can all understand what we're saying just because music is another language itself.
The Perlman Music Program, PMP, is an institution established over 20 years ago. It is headed by the wife of the maestro, Toby Perlman.
The program comes out of my dream. Sometimes dreams come true. It happens. And that's what happened with the Perlman Music Program.
Another distinctive aspect of the project is that this masterclass was held in Tel Aviv, Yizhak Perlman's hometown.
For me, for us, there's a difference because, this is the country of my birth. So to come to Israel, and do a program like this, I said that before, and to do it here in this neighborhood, which is not too far from where I was growing up, is quite special. I'm very, very happy, and being here in Israel, and doing this program makes me very happy because it's not just playing, but it's teaching and it's working with young, talented students.
But how do you advise such a diverse group of students to reach mastery of their instrument? That was one of the challenges presented by the course.
Every player is really an individual, and I feel like that comes a lot from him choosing what to say and what not to say, and what to leave alone, and what to, I sort of keeping the student in the discussion.
The important thing is to grow as a musician, not to stand still. What is the actual thing you want to achieve as an artist? And for me, is never to grow out of what you're doing.
The PMP program provides an experience these students won't soon forget.
Meeting such amazing musicians made me realize this is really what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I think that was, I don't know if I would have ever really understood that by now if I hadn't gone to PMP.
Lovely. Now, Avri Rosen Tzvi is here with us in the studio. Hello, Avri.
Hi, Oded.
We're going to talk superheroes.
Some more superheroes. Yeah, we're talking about Miss Marvel, which is Marvel's first Muslim superhero. Right. They announced it in November 2013, and there was a lot of talk about it. But now the 3rd issue has been out, so let's talk a little bit about the substance, what it is. It's a very interesting book in that it's really not much of a superhero book. It's more a book about identity. It's about a Pakistani girl who's very aware that she doesn't look like a superhero. When she sort of gets these weird superpowers, she doesn't understand them at all. She lives at home with her very conservative parents. She goes to pray at the mosque, but it's sort of...
What kind of superpowers does she have?
Well, she's very strong. She can stretch a little bit. But it's very interesting because the first time she turns into a superhero, she turns into a blonde girl.
Okay.
With revealing outfits, and she's sort of a little bit embarrassed.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's very interesting, and it's a book that very openly deals with finding a new role model. How can a little Pakistani girl from New Jersey be a superhero? It's very comic book, because it deals more with their everyday life, and with sort of.
But is there a villain that she's gonna fight? Is there all the things that we know and love from comic books? They're not there.
It's entirely not there. I mean, into the third issue, it's all dealing about her sort of identity and her question about what does it mean to be a superhero? Am I a superhero? What should I look like? And sort of she never got her costume yet,
right?
But they're still revealing it, and as you can see, it's much more subtle than most,
what we're used to. Yeah, well, we'll see how it goes as it develops. Thank you, Avner.
Thank you, then.
And thank you for joining us as well. I hope you enjoyed watching our show. We'll be here tomorrow again with a whole new show for you. Join us. Bye-bye.